I got it.
Nice, awesome.
Yep, I got
Yeah,
it. Hi, welcome back. I'm in the library, in a room, so I can talk, but I still should be kind of quiet. It's been a while since I made a video, and every time that happens, I apologize, and I apologize again. But if you've been following my channel for a while, I'm living in a travel trailer. I'm in a big transition of moving from New York down to Texas. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that is changing and moving and grooving. And where I'm staying currently, I have zero access to the internet. And I don't just mean like, oh, my internet isn't very strong, or no, like it's a dead zone. If you look on like the T-Mobile map, everywhere around my location has like cell service, and my location is like a gray triangle. I was like, of course it is. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Freya Serafina. I am happy to say I am no longer a PhD student in religion philosophy with a concentration in women's spirituality. I am a PhD candidate. Ooh, cue the applause. What does that mean? Well, my friends, that means that all of my coursework is done, all of my exams are done, and I have passed my proposal. I have formed a dissertation committee. I have been approved by HRRC, which is a human rights committee, to make sure you're not doing any like funky violations when you're working with quote unquote human subjects. Basically, like if you have other participants, you need to demonstrate that you're have good ethical practice in conducting your research. So I passed all those things. Wow. I also quit my job, 2 of them, because if you also have been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I had like 7 jobs at one point. I quit 2 of my teaching jobs, my teaching job in New York City, and I guess I'll say like the second one I was teaching at another university in Connecticut, and I really love them and they're so great, but because of this big transition, I can't keep doing it. So I did not accept another course next semester. Who knows? Things may change. I don't want to live in Texas forever. I don't want to live in the South forever. I want to come back, so keeping that door open. But there's a lot of uncertainty, and I accepted a job in Texas teaching in the philosophy department, which is new for me. I teach visual and the performing arts, so teaching in philosophy specifically is really exciting, and I get to exercise my PhD learning muscle a bit. And that'll be another video, because prepping for that course has been an enormous amount of work, and I'm nowhere near done. That's what I'm doing some of that today. Now, what's this video about? Well, one, I am going to give you an update on the herbs that I foraged from last video. So if you're watching this video after that, I'm not leaving you in the dark. But for those of you who are just joining me, a little bit about me. My scholarship focuses on women's hidden herstories, not histories, on goddess spirituality, on paganism, on witchcraft, on rituals, and how ritual can lead us on a path towards cultural and spiritual reclamation. My dissertation specifically is looking at my own lineage, in the hopes that this creates healing and repair and creates a sense of community and cultural continuity. Aside from my research, I am a practicing witch. I am a New Yorker through and through. I practice herbal medicine, divination, and I teach workshops on witchcraft and other women's mysteries. I do women's circles. I run a Women's Spirituality Institute and a program called Witch Workshops, which we're launching our second cohort in February, which is so exciting. And I like to read, and I like to drink coffee, and I have 2 cats and a partner. That's me. And I love the library. Now, something I have really been trying to do, not in this new year, because if you follow my socials, you know that we're not in a new year in January. I digress. What I'm trying to do more of is take my scholarship and put it into practice in the world. One of the big problems that I see and other, scholars have talked about is that academia, higher ed, this sort of scholarship is oftentimes really inaccessible for the general population. There's this sort of like elitist air around people who create scholarship, publish scholarship. It's like, the doors are closed, the bars are on the gate, and the people whom this work could actually really help and who the scholarship is for and about often don't have access to it. And, I saw a really great post from Kaylin of Accepted Society, or the redheaded academic, whom I have a lot of respect for, about being a public historian. And, she brought up some things around why us researchers and scholars can sometimes feel a bit of trepidation around that, because we're really putting ourselves out there to be criticized and critiqued. And I think anyone who is on the internet certainly can. But she also mentioned something that really rang true for me around, well, am I fully qualified yet? Because I don't have my PhD just yet. And that's a big one. But it's like a sort of a colonial mindset I'm trying to unpack. And so I want to create more public scholarship that's accessible, which is part of what this channel is. If you go back to some of my older videos, you'll see I'm simply talking about research about the goddess as the original Holy Trinity. That was a big one. About some lies in Christianity, or things that were covered up and consumed, about paganism, about some religious history and witchcraft and all of these things. And all of my research is scholarship informed, but also it's a record of embodiment and personal practice as well, which is just as valuable. And so what I'm starting is a bit more focus on public scholarship, bringing what I'm learning and what I'm experiencing into this public realm. And I'm really, really, really happy to say that some of that work is paying off. So I disappeared for a little bit. I'm sorry, this is like so chatty. I'm going to intersperse this with really cool visuals, maybe. But this is like, really kind of an update video before we get back to some regular programming. But I sort of went MIA aside from all of the moving stuff and lack of internet. You know, I don't really have a space set up just yet where I can film in the trailer and everything looks cool and whatever, and I can just go out into the world and film and then upload it and blah, blah, blah. And so that's been a little difficult. And there's been so much snow that I haven't been able to get out as much as I normally would, even though I love the snow. But also, because I've been working my ass off behind the scenes, I decided in December that because I'm 2 jobs down, okay, and really it's like 3 jobs down because I had 2 positions at the school in Manhattan, and then I'm actually gonna be leaving another position, not because I can afford to, but because if I do not take the risk, and don't just follow my advice, make sure you are financially sound, but if I do not take the risk, I will not be able to accomplish any of my dreams. And so I'm going to take the risk, and I believe in my magic and my personal power, and I know I will succeed. And so I'm in this space of, well, I can't just keep talking about what I want to do, and I can't just keep talking about getting my research out there, and I can't just keep talking about wanting to create a workshop. I have to do it. And so in December, I sat down and I researched organization after organization after organization, and I took days of crafting my research into a palatable format for presentation. And depending on the organization, that looks different. And I have 1 presentation absolutely coming up, which is really, really exciting. And if you are a member of Accepted Society, then you get to attend it absolutely free. And I actually think if you just follow Accepted Society's YouTube channel, I think they're going to broadcast it to YouTube also. So it's free. And that's about treating your research as ritual. And so that's really exciting. It's going to be more of an embodied experience. I have one that is in the works, and the head of this organization has to get back to me after checking in with her colleagues. Fingers crossed. Maybe by the time I'm done editing this video, I'll have more information. Then I have another huge meeting tomorrow. And for me, this one is probably the most exciting, because there's probably money involved, or there is money involved, rather, I should say. Whereas some of these other presentations, there's no money involved. And while I'm not necessarily in a position, to do things for free, I also know the value of putting myself out there. And if I'm able to do it, and I think that it's worth it, I'm going to do it. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm also going to actually dedicate time to a Substack. And on my Substack, and I'm going to put the links for everything below, I'm going to detail the process of getting a dissertation. I'm also going to detail the process of creating rituals. And I'm going to just share what this experience is like and what my research is all about. And back in the day, like advisors and senior scholars would tell you to not really do that because someone could steal your ideas. I think we are in such a digital age that it may be more prudent to start sharing your ideas for a few reasons. One, because then if someone steals it, you have a record of you talking about it first. Two, there's so much misinformation that leads to hatred and division and horrible, horrible, horrible things that are happening in this world. And us elite scholars are sitting on a wealth of information that is inaccessible to people. And we're using all the big fancy words and all the little clickbaity, conversation starter terms. That shit is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Save that. If you're a scholar watching this, save that for your paper. Save that for the academic journal. Save that for the academic conference. Talk to people in ways that they will understand. Break it down. Because like I know, if you're unable to break it down, you don't know your research. We need this now more than ever. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself out there. It's okay to fuck up. It really, really is okay to make mistakes. As long as you take accountability, acknowledge them, and do better next time. It's also okay not to know everything. Now I'm speaking to everyone, but if you're also a professor watching, don't you hate it when a student asks you a question and you don't know the answer? What do? Do you make it up? When I first started teaching, I'm going to be real honest with you, I would take a guess. Maybe in my first 1.5 to 2 years of teaching, I'd take an educated guess. Now that I've been teaching for almost 9 years, I go, I don't know. And then now I take it even a step further and I go, I'm not sure. Here are some of my thoughts around it. I'll give you extra credit if you go home and research the answer and come in and tell us all. Get them involved, man. So here's just a couple of things that I want to say. And this video is really brief because it's just adding some context for what's going to come next. I'm going to be focusing this channel on some of the things that I'm already focusing it on. Witchcraft, paganism, goddess histories, herstories, rituals, all of that stuff. Practical magic, practical magical applications. So herbalism, divination, information about witchcraft history, how you could practice, what practices are coming up, and then also my scholarship. Now, there's something known, I've probably said these things before, but life is hard and my memory is what it is. There's something known as a scholar practitioner. That would be me. Traditionally, scholar practitioners were, and I don't care if someone comes in the comments and tells me that I'm wrong, because I'm not, and I'm not. But traditionally speaking, scholar practitioners were a little bit frowned upon if you were really vocal about being a practitioner as well, because there's an assumption that there is bias at play, or that, you know, you have a particular worldview, and so you're automatically going to find a particular answer when conducting research, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking to affirm what you already believe. I agree that that could definitely influence your scholarship. I mean, it's influencing your research question to begin with, because there's something either you're interested in or whatever. But I would also argue that that applies to everything, because, I mean, why does a scientist choose to focus on, you know, treatment or solutions for colon cancer, for example? Maybe someone in their family had it, or maybe they're just really passionate about helping people. That's still like an informed take, though I can acknowledge the differences, okay? But I think there's something really special about being a scholar practitioner, because you have an insider's perspective into ritual, into belief, into why someone might practice this particular thing or hold this particular belief. Now, I think the challenge lies in then being able to articulate that and understanding to an audience that maybe doesn't hold that belief, for sure. And also, if you're studying yourself, which I'm doing a bit of that, being able to translate your thoughts and feelings can be challenging. But I am reclaiming the power and beauty of the scholar practitioner, because we need more people to step forward and say so, and say that they are. And this is what I do, this is what I believe, this is why I'm doing it. Because I think that there's transparency in that. Whereas for a lot of research, there may be a lack of transparency, a lack of the why, the how, the what for, what's your personal worldview or standpoint, who are you doing the research for and why, who are you speaking to, what are your motivations, right? And what are your biases? And how do those biases impact your findings? When you are a scholar practitioner and you are actively including yourself in the research, which not every scholar practitioner does, you have to address all of those. Maybe in a more in-depth way than you would if you were simply an observer. And I think that's really important, because now that I'm trained, a trained scholar, I can read something and I can infer, usually. I can go, oh, I see this person might hold a particular set of beliefs based on the way that they write. But unless it's explicitly named, I'm just kind of making an educated guess, which is not entirely helpful. And so naming and claiming those things is going to be important moving forward. If you have gotten this far into the video, thank you. Maybe you're a person who's interested in research. Maybe you're a person, you know, who wants to be a scholar, or maybe you just want to read more and learn more. It's awesome. Maybe you just put me on in the background and you're doing the dishes. I'm not complaining about that. Thanks for the views. Maybe you're someone who's been here for a while and you've been following my journey, and I so appreciate you, because I haven't been consistent over the last year, and I'm really sorry about that. I like to be as transparent as possible, and life has been really fucking hard. It's been really hard. If you've been here for a long time, you know my health has taken a significant dip. That's an ever-present battle that I will win. My mental health has fluctuates. Feeling pretty good at the moment. But that's because I think I'm a naturally positive person. If I wasn't, I'm not sure I'd be emailing these organizations to introduce myself. That's for damn sure. So I'm really grateful for your presence. This video is gonna go up, and then I'm gonna get another one up, and I'm gonna get back to making weekly videos as best I can, because it holds me accountable, and because, you know, when I share stuff that I find to be really impactful, I read every single one of your comments and all of the things that you say, and it's, you know, incredibly rewarding, and I'm so grateful to everyone who takes a moment to type something out and say you enjoyed something that I shared or some research I've uncovered. So please continue to do so. It feels good to be in front of the camera. I don't want to stop, but I have nothing else to say. So I'm going to get to work on all of the things that I said I'm going to deliver on, so that I do deliver on them. And if you're interested in which workshops, we have a free informational Zoom workshop on February 7th. Yes, link below. So if that's something you're curious about, all genders, please join us. See ya.